welcome to my video for Tales of Arise. So this is the first time I've played this game. I know it's been out for quite a while, but thought I would give it a go. So far it seems very traditional JRPG style. Not that that's a bad thing, but I was hoping it was going to be more action orientated. Interestingly, I've been in the game for probably 10 minutes so far, and I've not actually done anything other than cutscenes, etc. so far, so hopefully it will get a little bit more involved than this, otherwise it's going to be the most boring video ever.
You may not be able to feel pain, but that doesn't mean you can't
we will see.
Just like everyone else. If you're not more careful, you'll wind up dead without even realizing.
Yeah, I do find this about Japanese games. They do have a lot of talking in them.
More corpses than I care to.
Although hopefully it will continue to have, how should I say, voice acted parts throughout the entire thing. That would be extremely nice. Okay, so finally got to the first town, I suppose.
Hey.
Yes. I have had a bit of combat, but I'll probably cut it out because it wasn't really that interesting. So those eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that in my previous section I was talking about hoping that all of the game was going to be voice acted going throughout. This section isn't. So it seems that only cutscenes are fully voice acted, and the rest of the game seems to have these initial sounds or words to start off the conversation, and then the rest is text based. I'm not a huge fan of that, unfortunately, and it has kind of dampened my enthusiasm. Not that my enthusiasm was that high, but it has dampened my enthusiasm for the game, and I hope this isn't the only cost-saving measure that they have employed. That would be a real shame. But let's carry on and see what other delights we can find within Tales of Arise. But let's see what this side quest brings us. Hopefully it'll be something a little bit more interesting. This is actually the first proper quest that I've been given. The rest of them have just been involved in just getting to this place. So, Dairon's request. So this is kind of like the hub area. We can change the party strategy, I suppose, and this is what I was talking about, the items. You've got different armor, you've got a different weapon. If I put the blue ocean garb on, it does increase defense, elemental defense and resistance, but I don't know whether you noticed then when I went onto equipment and changed my ragged clothes, even though my ragged clothes are equipped, I still look like I've got the blue ocean garb on. It doesn't really make much sense. Yeah, change them, nothing seems to happen. I must be missing something. Maybe outfits. Yes, okay, so it doesn't matter what item you equip, you can change it to look like something else that you've got or that you found. Okay, so I suppose that's kind of traditional, that it's a very basic version of a transmog. You don't apply it to the item that you collect, you apply it to your character, so any item that you will put on after that fact will actually be the outfit. Seems a bit weird. Right, let's see how we get on in this area. Heading towards the star with the numbers, obviously. Now, it must be said that unfortunately there is a lot of running between places in this game. Not much to do in between them, and unless you see something and run up to it, no combat occurs either, so it can be quite tedious in that regard. Oh.
What?
Oh no, they're all dead!
How did this happen?
Soldiers.
Yeah, I am. Dairon sent me to...
I'm so glad you made it.
Hang on.
It's no use.
They've killed so many of us, and it's still not enough.
He mentioned something about those bushes.
Is this a cooking pot? But what is it doing here?
Really?
If I had to guess, he put it there to make sure Renan wouldn't.
The guy died for a
Even though
cooking
he
pot.
knew he was dying, he chose to use the last of his strength. He would come for it. I guess you think it's
They have some
stupid
odd
getting killed over
ideas.
No.
Very strange ideas.
Clearly, he.
Now, I'm sorry I'm skipping across all of the dialogue, but the idea of this isn't to see the dialogue, it's to see the actual game behind it, so that's why. So I guess I'm running all the way back to town then.
Sounds like you're kind of
Yeah,
scared.
give
to me.
Dairon the remaining supplies.
But if I'm gonna die
There's
one
no-
way or another,
no more,
I'd rather
so-
go down fighting.
Off we go back. Yeah, it does seem to be very standard JRPG. Don't get me wrong, it looks really nice actually. I like the
There.
drawn, so they're illustrated graphics, but at the same time they're not cartoony at all. And they do kind of have that, I don't know, almost they've tried to make the art style realistic but still manga-esque. It's quite a nice aesthetic to it, to be fair. Now, in a normal first look that I would do, I would look at the graphics, the sound, and various other things. With these sorts of games, it's always quite difficult, but graphically, it's relatively nice. From an environmental point of view, I think there's not quite enough to do, but that's standard for a JRPG. And the fact that the voice acting isn't 100% of the time is disappointing, but it's not a game breaker. So if you do like JRPGs, this is actually a very solid entry. Okay, so we got a bit of money, a few skill points. Unlocked a new emblem, which, looking at it, appears to be the skill system. So you unlock a title, and you get skills related to that title. Interesting. I don't know whether you can use those skills at the same time as ones from a different title. I'm not sure. They also don't seem to... Oh, Sonic Thrust, Mid-Air Evasion, Searing Wind. Okay, so some of them are passive, some of them are active skills. Let's get the Sonic Thrust. So yeah, I still don't know whether you can actually utilise ones from different titles all at the same time. I don't know. But she's only got one skill tree at the moment. I'm assuming she gets titles the same as we do then. Possibly.
You're back, huh? Much as I hate, all we can do was...
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Oh, right.
So then, you're wondering if I know anywhere with those across the wilderness outside with it being but with a Renan tagging along, who knows?
Skip past all of this.
Those look like the ruins. Let's move.
Okay, visit the Fangan ruins.
Yes. Now let's move.
One thing I haven't found out how to do is actually open the big map.
I'm skeptical. Right.
Oh, I saw that on the way out. Big bug type thing. And she said, "Oh, don't think we can take that on just yet."
Sorry.
Okay. Definitely not taking that. Oh, not taking that on. Yeah, I still don't know where.
Hey, Shion, where does your gun come?
What do you mean, where does...
When you're fighting, it looks like it just appears.
Oh, that's transferal technology. When I don't need my weapon, I submerge it in empty space.
Still don't know
when
where
I
the
do,
map
I
is,
summon it.
to be perfectly
Not
fair.
really, but it sounds pretty amazing.
But these kind of comic
Well,
book
that way you don't have to carry
cutscenes
around
are
any heavy weapons or worry about enemies
they're
trying to
okay.
steal them,
They're not
right?
You realize
not the
you're
best, but
praising
definitely not the worst
technology.
I've seen. That's for sure.
Technology is technology. It's not good or bad in and of itself.
I guess that's true.
This is what we like, a bit of combat. So the combat's quite interesting. Ooh. Okay, so these are the new skills that we've got that allow us to kind of link our attacks together. So we have a bar which kind of fills up around our character portrait, and once it's full you press the corresponding direction on the D-pad and it utilises their ability. Supposedly they get annoyed if you don't do it, so try and do it as much as possible. But it says that she's better against ranged enemies, but she only ever attacks the one that you're attacking. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation, so you have to target the flying creatures to make the best use of her ability.
Insects that stay on the ground. Here I go.
We've got flyers.
Well, I've got this. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours.
Sighted. You're mine.
It's over.
Currently I can only get 3 normal attacks in a row before I have to pause, and it says that I can unlock more skills to increase that later on. What exactly that means, I'm not sure. So we've got things in the world we can pick up as well. Lots of different creatures roaming around, but just like a Final Fantasy, as I mentioned before, they are very similar. This one, combat doesn't start, it's not in the real world, it takes you kind of to an arena, so you can't get attacked by anything else while you're fighting something. I'm not a huge fan on that these days. I used to love it when I first played JRPGs, Final Fantasy VII specifically. I used to absolutely love it, but with the evolution of gaming these days, I don't know, I think there's much better ways of doing this sort of thing these days, unfortunately. So this is all to do with resting at a camp and cooking, okay? There's no cooking option.
You should think about spruce.
Oh, it happens when you click on rest. Fair enough. So I did collect wheat and things like that while I've been going around, so obviously you pick somebody who's going to do the cooking for you. I have seen this in some games previously, that each person has their own cooking skill.
Off we go.
So that's it for this video. Tales of Arise is a very competent JRPG. If you'd have asked me 10-15 years ago whether this was a good game, I'd have said it was absolutely amazing. I'm not really that much of a JRPG fan these days. I think I've been spoilt by some of the Western versions of RPGs instead. The fact there is no character creator, the fact that voice acting isn't throughout the entire game, and the fact that you have to run up to enemies for them to attack is just not really for me. That being said, it does look really nice, it sounds really nice, and it's definitely got some polish to it. So if you do like your JRPGs and you really are into them, then this is definitely one that you should be looking out for. So that's all I've got to say. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video very soon. Bye for now.